Hey everybody, this is Brad from Johnson Small Engines, better known as the one-hand mechanic. If I can do it, you can too. Today we're working on a Honda Harmony 2013, and today I'm going to show you, in my opinion, on how to install a transmission drive belt. I just want to give you a note that we're doing this without the mower deck on, and I do have a video that will show how to take the mower deck on and off this particular model. It's a 38-inch mower deck, and I also have a video that shows you how to start and operate this if you have any questions about that, and I will have them both at the end of this video. They'll pop up, and also I'll have them in the link in the description below. All right, so let's get to the tools that we need today. Okay, tools from left to right. I use a 1/4-inch electric ratchet, 3/8 ratchet will work, 14 millimeter, 1/2 inch wrench, 12 millimeter wrench. This is never anti-seize, never seize, and that's good to go on the shaft of the engine. 12 millimeter socket, a 9/16 or 14 millimeter will work. 16 millimeter or 5/8 for the engine pulley. Flashlight. This is some PB Blaster. If you can't get the engine pulley off, soak it overnight. I have a hook I use, and then I use a 3/8 electric ratchet. So let's get to it. The first thing I had to do is, if you guys have a bagger on the back of your mower, this is a bagger holder right here that is actually bolted to the back of the machine. And what we need to do is, we need to get to the spring. And I had to take this off, so if you guys have one, make sure you take it off first. And what we're going to do here is, there's a spring right here. I'm going to use just my spring puller here that I use on a lot of different things. I'm going to pull this out and then let it go. It doesn't go that far. It only goes in about another inch. So you have the play right there. So that's the first thing we got to do. There is a cover here that we're going to take off. It's a 12 millimeter wrench. Now this allows us to have access to the transmission itself, and you can see right here, this is the belt that we're actually going to replace, and this can get very packed up full of debris. This guy here has been in the shop, but it hasn't been for like 2 years. It actually is looking pretty good right there, but normally if this is all covered in debris, I'll take it outside and blow it off the air. I'm going to go ahead and put this up in the air so we can get a better look at the front. Okay, so what we have to do now is we have to get this belt off, and the first thing I normally will do is take off this pulley. A lot of you guys out there can do these transmissions without taking this pulley off, but Honda really makes it tough. And there's a little gap here with the frame and the pulley, so that's kind of like really hard to get the belt in there. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off. Okay, so pretty sure this is going to be a 16 millimeter or possibly a 5/8. I'm going to go ahead and use a 16 millimeter because it is a Honda. Should be all metric. That was really on there. And I never take the bolt all the way out until I make sure this is moving, because if we need to, sometimes you have to pull them off. And this is actually moving down. As old as this is, I'm very surprised. I don't know if this was the original transmission drive belt or not, but it's coming down. And we do have to remove the transmission drive belt from that pulley. It's getting a little stuck right now. I'm going to put this back up in here for a second and just show you guys the spring. It's very hard to see, but the spring right here is the one that we disconnected from the back, and that goes over to this arm here, and this arm is what keeps the tension on the belt. So we're just going to go ahead and loosen it. We're going to push this arm out of the way. Check your pulleys to make sure they're in good condition. When you're in here, just make sure they're okay, make sure they're not chewed up. These are plastic pulleys they use from the factory. Yeah, so that's just the way they were back in the day. But moving this belt out of the way, getting to the back, all the way in the back, to get the transmission drive belt off the pulley back there, we may have to go through the, see if I can get this back out of there. We're gonna go ahead, go back up front again. And we're gonna, since it's loose there, we're gonna take it off the pulley here in the back, just like so, and you'll see it when I pull this down. All right, so a little bit easier getting off once the pulley's off of here. Check to make sure, this is such an old machine that there is no cracks in the pulley itself. And also you have there's a metal pulley here. This is a V pulley. Just remember that the V of the belt goes into the V of the pulley, and the flat side of the belt, like this one here, this is the flat side of the belt. The flat side of the pulley goes on the flat side of the belt. Just keep that in mind. This one here, this belt, was basically just old. It was very old and starting to shred. Hardest part about this job right now is going to be taking off You can either take off the steering rods from here, or you can take them off from the front here. And I usually do them from the front because it makes it a little bit easier for me. But let's go ahead and go back to the back of the transmission here. So the pulley we're trying to get off in the back here, really hard to see it. Yeah, I guess you're right there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just trying to get it around the back side of that pulley. There should be enough room back there to slide it around. All right, so it did slide around there. Really hard to see on the camera, but we got it back off of that. Now it gives us a little bit more room here to bring this up. Now, as you can see, this pulley here did not have a guide on it. This pulley here does not have a guide. This pulley here does have a guide. And a lot of times you can kind of wiggle them out. This one here it's actually part of the frame, I think. And it's gonna be extremely hard. I don't wanna hurt the new belt going in. See if I can get this off. That should be a 12mm socket. All right, I'm not gonna take it all the way off. I'm just gonna take it down just far enough that we can get the belt out like that. There's two guides here, and these are a little tricky, but you just have to kind of work them around, and they'll come right out like that. Then you have to push this off to the side. All right, so now we have plenty of room. I'm gonna take the steering rod right here, tie rod off up top. Okay, so the nut on top here is a 14mm or a 9/16, and then underneath I'm using a 13mm. And what I do is they're so tight, I try to get them loose first and then put my electric ratchet on it just to make it a little bit easier coming off. And these are locking nuts, which is nice. And then it should drop down. And now it's gonna drop down like so. We're just gonna leave that one like that. Other side right now. Okay, it just makes it a little bit easier for me to do it this way. You can take these off if you guys want to, but it's just easier for me to take the rods off, the tie rods at the wheels. Then you have to pull all your slack up here, and you have to go take your transmission drive belt all the way up. And out. And okay, so definitely you want to check both your belts just to make sure that they're close. So we're going to go ahead and start in the front. I'm going to go up through your steering right here, and then we're going to just pull it back down to the back, and this goes up here. We're just going to leave that hanging up there for now. I'm going to go all the way down the back now. It's really hard for you guys to see back up in here, and there is a door in the back that you'll be able to look down into. And I'm just basically reaching around, putting the belt behind the engine pulley, and I'm gonna put this machine down on the ground so we can see where that belt is in reference to the pulley. Yeah, I think actually it went around it, so I think I'm good. It's not that difficult, it just takes a little, it's really hard to see it. Now remember, the V goes into the V part, which is the V of the belt goes into the V, and then the flat goes into the flat. So we have to make sure that we are going the right direction here. And we got the flat part here. And I did pull this, bring this down. Now this is a brand new belt, so we're gonna have to loosen this up just a little bit more. All right, make sure you tighten this up. This arm is going to come out like this. Our spring is here, and we're gonna have to pull. So we're gonna go ahead and leave it. The spring is right here. It's a little hard to see, but we're gonna have to get our puller in there and grab it from the back side, which I'll show you. And you're just gonna leave this out just about right there for now. Then we go back up here, and you're gonna have to fish the belt around this guide, which isn't too hard to do, and then around this guide here, right there. And you're gonna go up to your front, put it on your front pulley. Don't forget they'll never seize on this shaft. When you put your pulley assembly back on the engine, this little slot right here is gonna let you know there's a key inside there that goes up into here. And you're just gonna just slowly turn it until you find it. And it should slide up in there. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this out real quick. Okay, I cleaned this out on the inside to make it a little bit easier to go up inside here. All right, so now that I found out the key slides into the shaft on the engine pulley, I'm gonna go ahead and slide it up to a certain point and then push the V belt on the V side of it, of the pulley. And if you need to, you can push this pulley back down here. You can push that back straight so you get a little bit more belt. Just need to, it just barely goes over the engine, pulley just like that. And it goes up like so. You have your engine pulley. I think this is a 5/8 socket. Tighten that up. Make sure everything looks good. Now we have to put our steering arms back on. When you put it on the ground, you want to make sure that this is all the way pushed out like so, because there is no guide that actually holds that belt on. It's just tension. And this, you have to make sure, we have to tighten that up. Make sure your pulleys are all moving and they're good. So I'm going to have this all the way pushed out because we need to be able to pull this spring. So we need this out as far as we can to get a grip on the spring at the other side there. So go ahead and put this on the ground. Okay, so now we're on the back side of it, and you can see how the belt is on the pulley right here. And then if you come down here, you can see this opening right here. You can see the spring, you can see the hook right there, and then if you come around a little bit, you can see the belt on the pulley. So you can see that both sides of that pulley have the belt on it. Now the hard part is to fish that. You have to fish the spring, and that's why I use a hook, and that's why I had that, you have to have that V pulley as tight as you can get it so you can get more spring. The spring will come back out to the back end of here, and then you just pull it through the hole and then down just like that. Oops, not quite. There it is. Now this hook, this was from, I think, a game. This actually pulled spikes out of the ground for a game. Actually make them out of bolts. I've had people weld them up. You can buy them like this, I think. But yeah, so the hook definitely is the winner right here. And I've actually even seen people hook a wire on there and pull a wire through with a socket. With an extension, you can put a wire around an extension, pull it through, but you got to be careful. And let's go ahead and put this back up in the air so we can see the final result underneath. Okay, so this is the finished product, and you have to make sure that you're starting from the top, you look it all the way down, make sure that you're lined up through these guides right here and through this guide here. You're not rubbing anywhere. Through this pulley here, flat on flat, V on V, and then you go back, and we already know that we were connected in the back. Our spring is good, nothing's rubbing here, and this is spring loaded. This is the only tension that you get, and Honda really puts a nice spring tension on it. So I give them credit. That was probably their first transmission dry belt for this guy. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.